Welcome back to LMX. Today we're diving into one of the most explosive issues plaguing our nation: ANC cadre deployment. I'm talking about how political loyalty is taking precedence over competence, and what that means for our infrastructure, service delivery, and overall progress. Just recently, EFF MP Sile Lanzi made headlines by exposing an ANC candidate for a NYDA directorship role. According to Lanzi, the deployee had been appointed despite not even having the necessary post-matric qualification. We've fact-checked the claim, and the evidence is there. When a person without even the basic credentials is pushed into a position of responsibility, it's not just a failure of HR, it's a national disaster. So, what exactly is cadre deployment? In theory, it was meant to transform a historically skewed public service by ensuring that once marginalized communities had representation in key positions. The ANC introduced it as a tool to redress past inequalities. But what started as a noble idea has turned into a patronage system. Today, cadre deployment means that party loyalty is often valued more than skill or experience. Instead of recruiting experts who can strategically manage a department or drive infrastructure projects, we see appointments based solely on political affiliation. And this, as we're about to see, has wreaked havoc on our nation. Let's start with the recent NYDA incident. During a parliamentary committee interview, EFF MP Sile Lanzi exposed an ANC nominee for a high-ranking NYDA role, revealing that this person, despite being considered for a position crucial to youth development, simply did not meet the basic educational requirements. How can someone be trusted with steering a national agency responsible for empowering our youth when they don't even have the necessary qualifications? This isn't an isolated case. It's a symptom of a broader problem where unqualified candidates are installed in strategic positions simply because they are loyal to the party. And the cost? It's our nation's progress on the line. Now think about our infrastructure. Every day we see roads in disrepair, schools lacking basic amenities, and essential services in a state of collapse. When decision-makers lack expertise, strategic vision takes a back seat. Departments run by unqualified personnel are less likely to plan long-term, manage resources wisely, or hold themselves accountable. For instance, consider the state of many municipalities across the country. Reports have repeatedly shown that when key roles are filled based on political loyalty instead of merit, service delivery plummets. From poorly maintained roads to unreliable power supply at ESCOM, the fallout is catastrophic. Our nation is hemorrhaging billions that could have been invested in growth and development instead of being wasted on mismanagement and corruption. So why are we stuck with this system? The answer lies in the culture of patronage that has taken over public appointments. The ANC uses cadre deployment as a way to maintain control over state institutions. By placing loyalists in key roles, they ensure that decisions, even if they're irrational or self-serving, are made in line with party interests rather than the public good. This approach undermines accountability. When someone's primary allegiance is to their political masters rather than to the citizens they serve, corruption thrives. Ineptitude becomes the norm, and the public pays the price. Let's look at some examples. Apart from the NYDA debacle, we've seen this trend in numerous state-owned enterprises and municipal governments. When unqualified individuals are given charge, strategic projects stall, budgets are mismanaged, and basic services deteriorate. Take ESCOM, for example. Over the years, poor leadership, exacerbated by appointments made on the basis of loyalty rather than expertise, has contributed to an energy crisis marked by sabotage, mismanagement, and corruption. Similarly, several municipalities have experienced repeated service delivery protests, as residents see firsthand the impact of incompetent management, potholes that are never fixed, water supplies that run dry, and crumbling public infrastructure. Even the resignation of Johannesburg's mayor after a turbulent 15 months in office signals that when leadership is compromised by patronage, the fallout affects every single citizen. The pattern is clear. When political loyalty trumps competence, our infrastructure and public services suffer immensely. Now, to be fair, not every ANC cadre appointment has resulted in failure. There are cases where loyal cadres who also possess the necessary expertise have done a commendable job. These examples remind us that the idea of transforming the public service isn't inherently flawed. When merit and competence are given their due, transformation can occur. However, these success stories are far and few between. They are exceptions in a system where, overall, the damage from unqualified appointments has become systemic. The promise of a reformed public service has been undermined by a policy that values allegiance over ability. Beyond the headlines and the political squabbles, there's a human cost. When our public institutions are run by people who lack strategic vision, ordinary citizens bear the brunt. Crumbling infrastructure isn't just an inconvenience, it affects healthcare, education, and the very quality of life for millions. The inability to deliver basic services can lead to a loss of trust in the government and a deepening sense of disillusionment among the populace. This is not just about mismanaged budgets or failed projects, it's about our nation's future. When public resources are squandered due to unqualified leadership, our country's development stalls, widening the gap between promise and reality. So what can we do? The first step is accountability. The ANC must re-examine its cadre deployment policy and shift towards a system where merit and expertise are non-negotiable. We need transparency in the appointment process and strict adherence to qualifications that ensure leaders can actually deliver on their responsibilities. We must demand that our public institutions are staffed by individuals who are not only loyal, but also competent and visionary. It's time for a fundamental overhaul, a move away from patronage politics towards a culture of professionalism that prioritizes the public good. Our infrastructure is crumbling, our services are failing, and the cost is borne by every single one of us. If we want a nation that thrives on progress, innovation, and accountability, we cannot allow politics to trump competence any longer. I call on you, the viewers, to demand change. Write to your local representatives, support initiatives that promote merit-based appointments, and never settle for mediocrity in public service. Our future depends on it. Thank you for watching. If you found this video eye-opening, please hit that like button, subscribe to LMX, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's start a conversation that demands accountability and real change. Together, we can push for a future where public offices serve the people, and not just party interests. Remember, the time for complacency is over. It's time to hold our leaders accountable for the futures they're shaping. Stay informed, stay critical, and I'll see you in the next video.